Oh, man. This is so embarrassing. I just did a whole intro and everything, and you didn't see any of it, because I forgot to hit the go live button. So let's try this again. What a game, what a win, what a statement by the San Jose Sharks. They came in having lost 2 in a row, and it kind of felt like their magic of the call-ups, the young Barracuda players. It felt like it was wearing off, right? They won the first 2 games, lost the last 2, and they were right in them. They were right in those last two losses. They were that close from winning, couldn't do it. And then tonight, to go up against the first place Calgary Flames, leaders of the Pacific Division. And by the way, tonight was the first Sharks Pacific Division game of the season. We're a dozen in. We won't have another one of these games until December 7th against, these same Calgary Flames. Sharks haven't seen the Ducks, the Kings, the Golden Knights, the Desert... nope, Desert Dogs not in the division anymore. But you should partake. Welcome to the live stream. Welcome to Sharks Night Shift. And it's just been amazing this season when you think the chips are down the most for Team Teal. Like 2 Saturdays ago, when everybody finds out that 7 players, the head coach, and a couple others surrounding the team, they've all tested positive or they need to go into COVID protocol. What do the Sharks do? They come out and win that night under the most difficult of circumstances. I think we titled it Against All Odds. It really felt like that. And Randy Hahn said it in our postgame show. Tonight felt like a complete follow-up to that. This is one of those cases where you looked at the start of your road trip. Calgary's red hot. They haven't suffered a regulation loss in weeks. 7-1-3 with the Flames into this one. So only their second regulation loss of the season. And honestly, they were that close from being shut out tonight by Adin Hill. That Lucic goal, I feel like I need 1,000 more looks at it. Does his stick blade touch Hill's pad? Did he push the pad in as well as the puck? I mean, it's up for interpretation and debate. I'm not going to sit here and argue that because it doesn't matter. Thankfully, that wasn't a deciding factor in the game. But the way the Sharks played, the way Adin Hill played in that second period was a deciding factor. It wasn't, wasn't the most magnificent first period. Sharks only had 4 shots on net. In fact, it was rather quiet, pedestrian, not a lot going on. The second period, now, I take it back. The first period, the Sharks did have 2 power play opportunities. One of them carried over, and one of them, as part of the carryover, led into the first Sharks goal. But they couldn't really do anything in the first period. Second period, they start out, 47 seconds in? What an unreal assist by Brent Burns to Alexander Barabanov. Burnsy has 9 assists this season, and I know we've loosely mentioned, I think he has a goal in 12 games. And you think about that pace, it's un-Burnsy-like from the goal department. I don't even care about that. And I think a lot of Sharks fans feel the exact same way. Play solid defense, be part of the offense. You don't need to be the guy alone scoring all the goals. It's absolutely fine. But to keep you involved in the play, and that stretch pass of, I don't know how many feet it was, had to be, if I do the math, if he was right around the goal line to the opposite blue line, 100 plus feet, clearly, a thing of beauty. Honor talked about how fast it was, like 100 kilometers an hour or something like that, 60 miles an hour. But I think it was the distance on that that was most impressive. And then the finish by Barabanov to go short side on Markstrom, just amazing. And that right there, put the Sharks up. They got to throw the first punch in this game. They got to be up and then make Calgary fight back. Now, it didn't take Calgary long, 30 seconds to get their goal. And Milan Lucic, jamming that thing in. And again, I feel like I want to see 10 more looks at it to ultimately feel good about it, like it was a good goal. Doesn't matter now. But what mattered after that was the power play the Sharks had to kill because of the failed challenge, right? So initially, was it a good goal was the question. They said, yes, it was a good goal. Sharks challenge it. They challenge for goaltender interference. Officials in Toronto say it's not. So now the Sharks are killing off a penalty. Then they take 2 more penalties. Cogliano high-stuck somebody and Magna cross-check somebody. So that's the rest of the second period. The Flames end up with 19 shots in the second period alone tonight, which is crazy. That's more than the first and third period shots they got combined. 18 in the rest of the game, 19 in the second period alone. That was a complete push. Tonight's game honestly felt like in the second period, it was Adin Hill against the Calgary Flames. It's not fair to everybody else in front of Hill, but and I am being a little bit sarcastic, but it felt like that. Now, there's so much to dive into here with the Adin Hill aspect. Think about his season. Opening night starter against Winnipeg. Goes down in an 0-2 hole. Not feeling great about it. He's solid after that. Sharks win 4-3. I think that's how that game went. Montreal is his next game. Pitches a shutout. All right, so there's a lot of juice with Adin Hill. His third game against Toronto lets up 3 goals on 33 shots, but San Jose still wins as part of that road trip. Feeling good about it. But then Boston hits. He gets pulled early in that game. Montreal, Sharks get shut out 4-0. So, again, they didn't score, but he lets up 4. And then last game against St. Louis, he allows 4 goals on just 27 shots. So Hill had been, struggling, and there was time in between his starts. 1 game and then 2 games and then 1 game from this last one. And Reimer had jumped in and done a great job. But I love the way that Adin Hill was the statement in this game. That close away from pitching a shutout. Not to mention not allowing tons of rebound chances. There were 2 posts in the second period alone. But again, that was Calgary's push. And they had the puck so much of that second period. I joked to Brownie about this in our broadcast. If this was football, time of possession would have embarrassed the Sharks and how much Calgary had the puck and how much the Sharks did not, but it didn't bite them on the scoreboard. Okay, I do want to say this. I have a huge big picture thought here. Huge big picture. I have an overwhelming thought about this team that I haven't got to yet. I will save that for the last thing before some Q&A. And by the way, how's the chat going? Oh, it's busy tonight. I will jump in that chat in just a second. So we'll get there momentarily. But let me just finish off the rest of the game here. Third period, another early goal for the Sharks. Logan's 5th of the year. And the fact that puck goes off Zadorov, who was going after the Sharks right before that. Instant hockey karma. If you're Logan, that's such a simple wrister shot. Not supposed to beat Markstrom, like hardly ever, but it did, and that's the way it played out. And then you get Hurdle and Jonathan Dahlen with empty netter goals to put this thing away. I mean, the Hurdle goal to make it 3-1 was enough for me, but I love the fact that Jonathan Dahlen now has 6 goals in his first dozen NHL games. He's among the rookie leaders. He's tied for the rookie lead in NHL goals this season. In our pregame coverage, we mentioned a certain recognition that rookies get in the NHL if they are among the best at the end of the season. I don't even want to say what that trophy's called, but you know. And it's so refreshing to have a young player like that to be excited about all over again. And that's, when I say that, that's not a knock to even a Mario Ferraro from a couple years ago or any of the other, promising players that have come up. But there's something about Dahlen and the lineage and the fact that he's still a top-line player after a dozen games and he's producing. And it's not to say that he won't hit ruts and, won't have dry patches. He won't get snake bit. Everybody does. But, man, that is a cool story. I don't care if tonight was an empty netter or not. Played well in the game. A lot of times you play well enough, you deserve that chance to bury one with no goalie in there. So that's pretty much my overwhelming thoughts of the game. I thought Ferraro was good early on. You can definitely see he and Bernsey playing so much, but now he's jumping in plays a lot more. But let's go to this. My overwhelming thought on the Sharks right now is that they are definitely not the same team from last season. Clear to me already a dozen games in the way they've won certain games and even the way that they've lost certain games. I can only think of once, maybe, the Montreal game where they were totally out of it. The Boston game, they dug themselves, was it a 3 or 4-0 hole? Can't even remember anymore, but they fought back. Like the Sharks of prior seasons didn't do that type of stuff. The Sharks of prior seasons, the last 2 prior seasons, they don't come out tonight and win this game against Calgary. They're shorthanded. Calgary makes that push in the second period. They bend, and ultimately they break in prior seasons. Tonight, they bent, and then in the third period, they bounced back. And they outshot the Flames 14-10. They were just diligent. They were persistent. And look, goaltending and fresh blood and new faces, and it was Hill tonight, but it's been Reimer so far, or also in the mix so far this season. You have a lot of pieces of evidence that this Sharks team does not have to struggle in 2021-22. I'm not saying after a dozen games I've seen enough that they're going to the playoffs and that the mission is accomplished and that this is instantly going to happen. I'm not putting money down on this. I'm not going that far in any regard. But I want to simplify it and just say what I have seen through these first dozen games tells me this group has it together, and they might struggle at some point. They might struggle mightily at some point, but they already have developed a recipe and a calling card and a formula, like whatever you want to say. They've developed that chemistry and that approach and that togetherness, that cohesiveness, man, I'm using a lot of words, so that they can sustain this through the course of a season. Again, I don't know how it ends. I don't know how the rest of the division shakes out. I don't know the story of this Sharks season. But what I am telling you here early is I have seen enough to tell you that they don't have to struggle as they did in the prior two seasons. And it's hard to exactly put your finger on what is that different. I mean, the roster is not entirely different. They did not overhaul this thing. Their goalies are brand new. You know, you have some new veterans on the team with Bonino and Cogliano, but to be honest, I don't think at all you've seen the best of their contributions as Sharks. You've now missed a player like Erik Karlsson for 5 games. You've missed a Šimek. You've missed a Timo Meier. You've missed a LeBanc. You've missed a Vlasic. Regular players in your lineup now for almost half of the season, right? They've missed 5 games, and the Sharks have played a dozen. We're coming up on that. And also, I mean, to throw this into the equation, and I realize it's a whole separate conversation, but their best player from last year is part of the team technically right now, but I don't know that he's like on the team, not on the roster. I'm talking about Evander Kane. So there's that whole thing going on. So again, they're different enough, but they're not like night and day. Oh my gosh, they retooled the roster. They're same head coach, couple new assistants in there, new voices. I think John McClain right now, what he's done in taking over this team as the temporary head coach, also extremely admirable. That's not getting enough play right now. I can't wait to see what this is like when they're full strength and they have options. And now some of these young guys have come in and there's a little competition, but it just makes you a deeper and a wider team. You're going to need that through the course of 82 games. You don't want to be missing a couple guys and now you don't know where to turn. So the main picture, the main theme here is that the Sharks of this season have already proved through, a sixth of their schedule that they don't have to be that struggling team of last year. They have separated themselves from the struggles of last year. Again, doesn't mean that they can completely avoid that at all times, but they don't have to be last year's team anymore. So I'm excited to see where this goes next, what this season's going to be like, and how they can continue to make it interesting. All right, is it time for the chat? Should I dive in? Alden, that block by Bonino in the third. Again, Bonino, Cogliano doing the small things. When I say before that you haven't seen the best of them, I just don't know that you've seen all of their contributions. But I agree. There were a couple key plays there down the stretch that preserved the lead for the Sharks. Dahlin is showing the value of letting a prospect ripen in the minors. I completely agree with that. And I know a lot of people talk about, oh, wait a second, Brazil. Do you not have... You guys can't see the questions I'm doing here. Well, that's not any good. All right. Hang on. Let me try this again. My computer somehow got unplugged and I can't show you guys the question. See, this is not as fun if I don't have that. All right, let me try it one more time. Yikes. This is no way to do a live stream. Oh, come on. But if I unplug that thing anyway, the whole thing is going to be a bust. I'm sorry that I can't pull your questions up on the screen. That's going to be so frustrating for me. All right. Well, I'll put this back up and we'll continue this way. Couture as player of the game. Jenny says that. You know, yes, but Aiden Hill. I mean, come on. That second period, it was like he was taking on Calgary all by himself. Penalty kill, even when they were at even strength. The Sharks don't get credit, by the way, on their own power play goal tonight. It happened as time expired or after it, but it was definitely a power play influence goal. And did Aiden Hill, I know he had the assist on the Barabanov goal, did he also assist on Hurdle's goal? Did they officially give that to him yet? Not exactly positive about that, but anyway, I think if I'm giving a puck out after this one, I'm giving it to Aiden Hill. A's Raiders Dubs Sharks says, and look, it's amazing. I'm clicking on the comments as if you guys can actually see them still. I'm so sorry. I'm liking the Sharks' future. They remind you of the Warriors, aka the Dubs, mixing the young core with established veterans. And you know, maybe that's part of it too. Is the mix now, the mix that you're seeing at this juncture. You do have so many young players who are hungry and they've got energy, and you still have enough veteran players to lead the way, to set an example, to keep the group calm and paced. I really like the way it's playing out. What criteria permit the 7 regulars missing right now to get back? Do they have to test negative for COVID twice? And Tony's asking this question. I'm not exactly positive on the return process, but I do think that it times out to be Saturday, which is 14 days. And I also think it could have even been sooner, but I think there were some issues with getting a negative test and then getting into Canada. I think these 2 games, Calgary right now tonight and Winnipeg next, I think they had to do with the timing of this too. I think the Sharks were pretty clear that as long as all went well, that Saturday against the Avs would be the time that most everybody, if healthy, can come back. And to that point, I think it's also imperative to mention here that, it's some of the players that I've heard from are on track to come back as soon as they get all the procedural stuff done and they didn't suffer the symptoms that would keep them from skating or keep them out of, being in shape. But I don't know from all of them, and I don't know how fast they get integrated. I don't know how fast they're thrown right back into the mix or how much conditioning, they need. To not play an NHL game for 7 of your players to shut it down for 2 weeks. And when I say shut it down, I mean like they may not have been feeling great at all for a full week, and then the second week is just getting your legs back. I mean, I think the effects of this are going to linger even past Saturday, even if everybody is back or close to it by Saturday. I think there's a lot that's still incomplete about this process being done and being in the clear. So, but with that said, I mean, again, look at tonight. Look at the message and look at the effort by this team. Let's see here. Oh, here's a good question. AM asking, do you think the young Padawans will tire out? I mean, they're Padawans. Shark-cootery is, I think Randy Hahn said that the other day, and that is so perfect. Sharks and Cuda, shark-cootery is what we're getting right now. I think at some point you don't want to overexpose all of your young players too much. Now, in 5 games, is that overexposing them? No. But if there are guys that, would not be able to last 40 and 50 games, like, for example, was William Eklund in that category? Did the Sharks see in him that, enduring a full 82-game season was going to be too much? If that's what they saw in him, then others might be in that same conversation. Now, he's also 19. A lot of these other younger guys like Dahlin are in their early 20s. So there is a difference there. But I don't know. I think AM, to answer your question, will the young guys tire out? At some point, but we're not at that point yet. If you were to use this much of a Barracuda heavy lineup through the rest of the season. Meg likes the comment Shark Cootery. I am so upset that I can't get these comments rolling again. This was completely working before and now it's not. I'm going to try one more thing to get this rolling. I'm going to try and reboot it. It does not like it. See, I know what I have to do, and not to get too technical here, but this interface right here with HDMI out from my laptop, I have to unplug this, but if I do that, I'll lose internet, I'll lose my Stream Deck, I'll lose the audio interface. Oh, man, I'm so bummed out. Well, at least I'm here. Last night, by the way, I was doing a live stream in the middle of the great internet outage of 2021. And I was like, what happened here? How did it never cuts out like that? And then I realized, oh yeah, it cut out for everybody. Let's see some other comments here. I am so sorry because I love to rock through these with them up on the screen, and it's just not the same anymore. Jack asking, do you think there's a chance the Sharks would trade their first if they're in a playoff spot come deadline? Or do you think Doug Wilson would want to keep the youth movement going? Yeah, I mean, a lot remains to be seen. And this team is still building towards something. I would say first-round picks are probably untouchable at this point. Like, you don't want to move them. But let's put it this way. To your point, Jack, let's go a different direction. Could the Sharks be buyers at a trade deadline later this year? Which we are, by the way, months and months and months away from. But there was a lot of pressure to get this team back and into the playoffs and get this team right this season. I said from last year to this year that I thought they would need 2 wow moves to right the ship. Now, what are those wow moves? Are they acquiring new players? Or does that mean letting go of somebody? It could be all the above. And it turns out that one wow move was the buyout of Martin Jones's contract. And I mean, the other wow move, it wasn't even a move. Evander Kane is no longer around. And how would you last year, how would you plan that out? Like you can't even envision what was about to happen, how things were about to unfold and what was going to happen next. None of that was, at least from the public view, none of that was predictable. So that in itself, it was more like a wow situation. And I'm only talking about the fact that your best player from last year is not with the team. I didn't think was that supposed to be a wow move in the good direction? But it turns out that overall it was of the wow variety. And here we are. And you have a team now that's 7-4-1. I mean, the Sharks right now, everybody's hot on Calgary. Let me update my scorecard here. Everybody's hot on Calgary, but the Sharks are 2 points behind him. My game notes, by the way. I don't know how well this is going to show up on the GoPro, but I just write notes down during the game. I keep track of timing of goals and penalties and other critical moments. And if you can read my chicken scratch, in real life, I do have pretty good penmanship. But I do it so quickly here, and I almost do it bad on purpose so that nobody else can read it besides me. It's like my cheat sheet. I keep track of power plays up here for both teams, shots on goal per period, other topics. A lot of this stuff turns out to be stuff I want to talk about in post-game or live streams. And then down here, which I didn't write it in, I usually write the lineup, and then I write scoring by period, and then I keep track of the goal sequence, like Sharks, Flames, Sharks. I also have a little code for if it's a power play goal, shorthanded goal, empty netter. All that stuff helps me at the end revisit, the way that the game played out on any given night. And yeah, look at branded with the NBC Sports logo on there, points and record, 2 goalies, their names up there. In case you're doing an intermission segment and you forget. I'm sure it's happened before. So I wish this chat worked. I'm so upset by the fact that this chat is not showing up on the screen. Everybody talking about, Illuminato is talking about, hopefully we can get Hurdle to stay. Look, if Tomas needs to be sold on the team and the season and where they're going, isn't what's happening right now exactly what you want if you're the Sharks? Isn't that kind of like an attraction? This group didn't have to go through an entire rebuild. A team you already like, teammates you already like, a situation that could be good for you, and if the contract can work itself out, you're in a good spot. Ace Raiders Dub Sharks pointing this out. Thank you for pointing that out on the live chat. This channel just passed 10,000 subscribers. Does this work here?
10,000 subscribers.
It was so terrible. Something's up with the audio interface tonight, too. I'm having so many technical problems. Let me try that again.
10,000 subscribers.
Oh, yeah. All right. So we'll do probably on Wednesday night. Wednesday or Friday night. I don't know. Probably Wednesday night. I'll do a 10,000 subscriber live stream, and there will be beer involved. Jack Olson also mentioning that, too. I appreciate that. A lot of questions here now about Evander Kane. I have no clue. I do not know how this plays out. I'll tell you this, though. It's a 21-game suspension. We're 12 into the season. We're 9 games away from the future of whatever happens with number 9. So we're going to find out sooner than later how this works. And honestly, I'm saying this with zero inside knowledge of the situation right now. AM asking, wait, how are the normal CUDA team doing? Where do they get their call-ups from? The ECHL. They have been borrowing players kind of in return from the ECHL. Now I think the real question is, what's the ECHL team doing? They're borrowing Pee Wee hockey players. No, I have no clue, and that's disrespectful for me to say. But it's a domino effect, and that's what's happening right now. And I think a lot of this also goes to show how important it is that the Barracuda are in San Jose. Their players are not far off from contributing and holding the fort down like they're doing. That's what you're witnessing here. A lot of people saying congrats. Meg saying that. Jenny saying that. Thank you so much. Zach Osteen. Zach, how are you, buddy? Should be a bunch more. No, you know what? I'm not big on how many people are here. I just want the right people here. That's all that matters. Tony saying technical problems are entertaining. I'm a professor. I know. Yeah, like when you try and put the overhead on, like the slide. Are overhead projectors still a thing? Gosh, my last college course was almost 20 years ago. And they were still using them then, but that was like the early 2000s. I feel like there was some 90s and 80s carryover. And obviously in high school and my elementary school, those things were all over the place. Do they still use overhead projectors in school? Somebody in the chat, let me know. Scott K, the Kane suspension is over after 21 games. Here's Chase giving me a Kevin Kurz tweet. Kersey, shout out to you. Sharks' team save percentage is now .916, 8th in the NHL. Question for you. Is it new goalies? Is it better team defense? I think the real answer is both, right? Defense hasn't... How many odd man rush chances have you seen the Sharks give up this year? How many second and third and fourth net front chances have you seen the Sharks give up this year? Some, but nowhere near the amount of the last couple years. So yeah, 8th in the NHL is the Sharks team save percentage. Drew checking in saying the 10,000 live stream will involve a keg stand. You heard it here, folks. Oh, man. It's a great question by Illuminato. Do you think we're seeing the real Hill tonight? He was able to keep the Sharks in it during that tilted. He was able to keep the Sharks in it during that tilted first period. Well, and honestly, the second period too is I thought he was fantastic. No, look, I mean, he's capable of pitching shutouts. It's happened before this season. He's also capable of having some nights and some games like in Boston where he allowed 4 quick ones. So I think with Hill, you're just going to see a little bit more fluctuations of really good play, then maybe a step back, and really good play. But he's getting, like, he's only got around 50 starts in this league versus Reimer, who's a bit more consistent and maybe a bit more predictable. This thing is making me so upset. Hang with me here, everybody. I'm going to unplug this. I can't stand this anymore. I've got to do it. Hang on a second. Did we do it? Did we fix it? Oh, hang on a second. Let me get my settings going. Hang on. Check, check, check. Oh, I think we did it. I think it's been done. We're back? Oh, wait, but now I lost the... No! All right, I'm going to try this one more time, everybody. I'm so sorry, but I got to see these questions on here. Please work, please work. I think it might have. It's going to work. Then I think it might go away for a second. No, actually, you know what? I think we're good as long as I do. Oh, I did it. Oh, my mouse is still there. Oh, I should have done that a long time ago. Oh, now I'm mad at myself. Should have troubleshooted right on the spot. All right. 10,000 subscribers, free Comcast merchandise? Is that what you want, really? That's not what you want. Am I going to grow the beard back? I think this is the extent of it. And Zach, by the looks of how yours is doing lately, I'll never match that. Yeah, the long beard is itchy and scratchy, and skin irritation. Oh, I need to tell people to smash that subscribe button. What have I been doing this entire time? Smash that subscribe button, please. Will you? Smash it. Devastate it. No, I'm already at 10,000. Now I don't care anymore. Just don't unsubscribe. That's the real thing. Oh, okay. So I asked about overhead projectors, but apparently cameras and PC screens, they're all modern now. Dude, you used to have a chalkboard. Yeah, I totally get it. It's a whiteboard, like a grease board. That was not a thing when I was maybe in middle school that became prevalent. But everything was a chalkboard in elementary school. Oh, overhead projectors, still around 5-ish years ago. Sniffing fresh Ditto handouts. Classic. I did it. Yes. Become one with Geek Squad. You know what? No, I never left. I knew the stream wouldn't end, but I thought some things would go away. And then I thought the stream deck would go away, but it turns out, look at that. Still cranking. Focus. Ooh, look at that. This is how I control the show right here. Now it wants to focus on, it's confused. It's like, it sees my eyes. So like if you want to do that little over the shoulder thing, or if you want the chat back, I've been going for 35 minutes here. My goodness. Anyway. All right. Got some other stuff to do here. We'll do it live. Yes, we did that. My IT department. Yeah, who needs a production team? No, I'm not. I would never say that. Chase, that statement, I do not agree with that. I love having an actual production team. Without them, I'd be really up a creek. You saw how I struggled with that for like 2 minutes, and I should have done it before. Yeah, you really like Ryan Merkley's game. I agree. And I think, too, with all the young players, what you're seeing is, not unfortunate inconsistency, but you're seeing that is a part of their game. That's how this plays out. Good some nights, less some nights, a struggle night, but that's what young players go through. I mean, first off, that's what all players go through in this league, but especially young players. Let's go back to the chat here. Does another team set up all of your cameras and stream equipment for you, or is it all you? Well, I got news for you, Reese. I set up all of this every single time, and you actually can't even see. Let me see if I can get. There's the audio equipment over there, and the switchers down there. So there's actually quite a bit going on. This GoPro is not really on a actual tripod; it's on a little stand. So yeah, no, I set it up actually. Every single live stream that I pack it away, I put it in 2 cases over there. Then anyway, that's what's going on here. Let's go back to the live chat here. John, Merkley has great poise with the puck. I agree. I like seeing him out by the blue line on the point with the puck. It's unfair to be like, oh, he's like Dan Boyle, but in a lot of ways, he reminds me of Dan Boyle. It's fantastic. Jets fan here. Good luck on Thursday. Snow? Can you dig it? Wait, it's going to snow in Winnipeg on Thursday? Hasn't it? It probably snowed already. I mean, we're mid-November here. So, oh, Taylor, don't do that. I'm so happy to crack 10,000. Oh, I'm getting some text messages here. Oh, you didn't tune in to see me respond to people's texts? Wait a second. I was just passed along a piece of information. No, that can't be true. So this is, by the way, this is real. This is how real world stuff happens here. Somebody just sent me a message. Well, I don't even want to say what it's about. It's potential Sharks news. I'm not trying to be a tease on this. I just need a little bit of clarification. Get this off the screen, by the way, before I actually get into it. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to leave you guys hanging there on the live stream. Metal Mario, why would you do that? Oh, they finally fixed the Wi-Fi in Winnipeg. Yeah, how are you watching me up here in Winnipeg? I thought they had really slow Wi-Fi up there. The youth and the coaching, I agree. They have been working really well. Honestly, I because there wasn't a large amount of turnover and there wasn't a drastic move. I mean, really, when I said earlier there's 2 wow moves, both of them technically are players that aren't with the team anymore. The additions were all younger players, and even a draft pick like Eklund is not even around. So, Brody, share my cell phone number. Absolutely not. It's not anywhere here on the screen, is it? Like you didn't see it somewhere, did you? Jessica, you're honestly stoked to see Drew Remenda again. Always excited to see him talk about Drew's clues. Yeah, your inner 90s is screaming for joy. And kind of in the way that you're like, never knew how it would work out for the Sharks this year. I don't know. I never had any idea that we would ever see Drew back with the Sharks. Whether he was doing something else or another team had him or happy somewhere else. It's crazy how the world works. And I'm pretty glad for it too. Spill the tea. I don't have tea yet. Hang on a second here. All right. So somebody had sent me a hypothetical, and I thought it was a real thing. Not a real thing yet. That's what happened. I can't be specific about this. I have an exclusive. I thought I might have. I didn't know. Sharks have enough gas in the tank to win the Pacific. I mean, win the Pacific? That's a mighty haul. And you got heavy teams in this division, but Get in the playoffs? And is there enough gas in the tank to get in the playoffs? We're 12 games in. I'm holding my horses to a certain degree, but I also want to say that I've seen enough to know that, like I said earlier, this team does not have to struggle this year. They just don't. All right. How long until I convinced Drew to come on a live stream? I could have done that the other day, but quite honestly, I'm here for another 20, 30 minutes afterwards. He's got to go, So maybe, and especially when we're here at the studio, I could bring him in the conference room. Which is, by the way, where I'm at. Pull up a chair right here, So simple as that. Ooh, Ivan here asking me an audio question. Have I tried the TLM 107? That's a microphone. I have not. Used to have the 103. I still have it. I don't use it. Steve. Oh, sorry. I didn't realize. This tease is painful. No, it's not a tease. I'm going to admit. I thought there was something to the situation. It turns out there's not. So. What do I think about the Kraken? I think they're in last place right now. Look, you're not supposed to be an expansion team like the Golden Knights every time around, and I think they're probably better than last place. They're better than where they're at. So we'll see how that works. All right. I'm trying to see. See if I can get to a couple more comments here. OGs, remember when there were 30 people in this live stream? Yeah, how many are here now? Oh, there it is. Look you could almost kind of see how it's gone. Up, up, up. Well, you can kind of see that there. Anyway. All right, with that said, I appreciate everybody. I've got a couple other things I want to try and knock out here before I leave. So, the music played. Thank you so much for sticking with technical difficulties in this live stream. We got sidetracked from the game itself, but 4-1 statement win by this team to start off their road trip. Now, the trip is still difficult. There's a St. Louis to deal with, a Winnipeg to deal with. The Avs are no slouch. It's still a very, very daunting journey that this group is on. Minnesota, forgot about them. But to start it this way, to hopefully get some reinforcements back soon, and for this team to continue galvanizing what they're made of, to show that, again, that the ship has turned directions. It's not speeding out of the harbor exactly yet, but it has turned directions. All right, everybody, be safe. Come back soon. We'll do the 10,000 subscriber live stream probably tomorrow.